This is a breaking news update from SGTReport.com. Friends, the information we've been waiting for from Kim.com has been released on Tuesday, today, the 23rd of May, and it is bombshell information. Now, first, guys, I want you to know I just literally got off the line with Bixweir. We conducted an interview today, and 5 minutes later, this news from Kim.com broke. I'll be releasing that interview with Bixweir later tonight. It's a powerful interview, and it features a lot of information from investigative journalist Liz Crokin from WorldNet Daily, who's done an excellent job keeping the eye on the ball of the Seth Rich story. She's breaking incredible information. And now, as promised, Kim.com has released his information that he says proves that Seth Rich was involved in the DNC leak. The name of his post, released just minutes ago, is titled, "Seth Rich Was a Hero." He says, "I know that Seth Rich was involved in the DNC leak. I know this because in late 2014, a person contacted me about helping me to start a branch of the Internet Party in the United States. He called himself Panda. I now know that Panda was Seth Rich. Panda advised me that he was working on voter analytics tools and other technologies that the Internet Party may find helpful. I communicated with Panda on a number of topics, including corruption and the influence of corporate money in politics. He wanted to change that from the inside." Kim.com writes, "I was referring to what I knew when I did an interview with Bloomberg in New Zealand in May 2015. In that interview, I hinted that Julian Assange and Wikileaks would release information about Hillary Clinton in the upcoming election. The Rich family has reached out to me to ask that I be sensitive to their loss in my public statements. That request is entirely reasonable." He writes, "I have consulted with my lawyers, and I accept that my full statement should be provided to the authorities, and I am prepared to do that so there can be a full investigation. My lawyers will speak with the authorities regarding proper process." Kim.com concludes, "If my evidence is required to be given in the United States, I would be prepared to do so if appropriate arrangements are made. I would need a guarantee from Special Counsel Mueller on behalf of the United States of safe passage from New Zealand to the United States and back. In the coming days, we will be communicating with the appropriate authorities to make the necessary arrangements. In the meantime, I will make no further comment." Statement from Kim.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is blockbuster information because it absolutely blows out of the water the straw man account by the DNC and the mainstream Mockingbird media that the Podesta WikiLeaks emails were hacked by the Russians, that the entire election was stolen by the Russians. This has nothing to do with the Russians. It has to do with a leaker from within the DNC who, in John Podesta's own words, via his own leaked emails, needed to be made an example of. And not long thereafter, Seth Rich was murdered. As Liz Crokin has been saying, the Seth Rich assassination is the domino that will bring the whole thing down.
I'm telling you, this Seth Rich story is the domino piece that's going to make all of them fall down. The whole house is about to fall. Because if indeed, like you said earlier, if indeed Seth Rich was indeed the leaker, that means it wasn't Russia. So their lie about Russia hacking, and colluding against Hillary during this election was a complete lie. So that ruins that narrative. It proves that the DNC has assassins. It proves that the DC police department's corrupt. It also proves that politicians that are closely tied to the DC police department are corrupt. And it also proves that a huge chunk of the mainstream media is covering up for this. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're covering up for this murder, you're complicit in it.
And as I said in my interview with Bixweir, which I will release later this evening, may the nooses rest lightly on the necks of those involved in the murder for hire and those involved in giving the order to assassinate Seth Rich. And I think Donna Brazile, John Podesta, and Hillary Clinton knows just exactly who that is. Thanks for watching, and for real news, visit us at sgtreport.com 24/7. God bless.
So I guess when you're talking about the removal of Christianity and really any sort of moral guideposts that we have, I think that from the perspective of the globalists, that's absolutely necessary. All of these categories need to be removed. People need to be re-educated. We are in the midst of a gigantic re-education campaign, and they have the most sophisticated tools that the world has ever seen.